What is up, everybody? Thank you for stopping by to talk a few Mark Andrews Dynasty trades. If you want to go ahead and jump to that first one, not offended at all. But before we do that, my name is Chu. You can check me out on Twitter and, of course, here on YouTube at Father Dynasty. For the trades that I'm going to be talking about today, I pulled them off the Dynasty Daddy trade database. Tremendous tool. I'm not affiliated at all, but again, it's a free tool, very helpful to be able to kind of source real trades, real recent trades happening. It allows you to filter it through, league size in terms of number of teams, number of starters, PPR, tight end premium, all that fun stuff. You can search via players. You can search with multiple players. So overall, it's a very useful, very fun tool to have. And, if I think of that and a lot of tools now that are available that, when I started in Dynasty, I think it was 2018, simply were not available, at least to this level of accessibility. So DynastyDaddy.com, Trade Finder, definitely go use it, go check it out. Without further ado, we'll talk a little Mark Andrews. So Mark Andrews, 13.5 points per game to this point. As, of course, we all know, the news came out today, cracked fibula and ankle ligament injury. So as of this recording, it wasn't definitive as to how long the recovery was going to be. I think at this point in the season, we're a little over halfway done. The assumption is he's out for the season, but then it's just trying to figure out what is the recovery timetable kind of looking like. So now I believe we're going to be seeing a lot more of Isaiah Likely and Charlie Kolar. Exciting for both. Isaiah Likely, even in his rookie season, I think got a good bit of run. And now that Josh Oliver is gone, those two, Likely and Kolar, I think are going to be given some great opportunity. Charlie Kolar, a guy who I'm very excited about, coming out of Iowa State. Big body, 6'6". Some places I saw 6'7". Good hands. He's not a yak guy, so not a yak freak of nature like George Kittle or something like that, but big, good-handed tight end. He was a fourth rounder. He was Brock Purdy's tight end back in the day, back at Iowa State. So go ahead and be on the lookout for that. But yeah, in terms of Mark Andrews' production to this point per game, aligns pretty closely with Sam Laporta, a little bit ahead of him. Again, Mark Andrews 13.5 points per game, Sam Laporta 13.2. And by most people's standards, certainly in the Dynasty community, waiting to see how Laporta and his rookie counterpart Dalton Kincaid would do. I think many people are pleasantly surprised with what Laporta has done to this point. Mark Andrews does, at least to this point, lead tight ends with 6 touchdowns on the year, 3 top 3 finishes, pretty tremendous. And he actually has 2 10-target games and 2 touchdown games. So overall, you hate to see the season end, but I think he was on a pretty decent trek there. So jumping over to Keep Trade Cut, where they have him at for Dynasty as the tight end 5, 1 behind Dalton Kincaid, 1 ahead of Kyle Pitts, which is still wild to think that Kyle Pitts is ranked that high. My ranking for Mark Andrews, the tight end 4. You can go ahead and check out the rest of my Dynasty rankings over at goingfor2.com. But getting into the deals here, without wasting time. So we've got the first one is 12 teams start 8, very shallow. PPR, no tight end premium. Mark Andrews in a 2025 second for Aaron Rodgers and Davante Adams. This one's interesting. One, because he gets to reunite 2 former teammates in Aaron Rodgers and Davante Adams. But 2, you're sending 2 pretty aging assets. One is a quarterback, of course, and it's super flex, and they're always valuable, no doubt. But I'm taking the Mark Andrews and the second. I know it is 2025. We, of course, don't know if it's, at this point, early, mid, late. But where I'm seeing Aaron Rodgers, he's possibly playing this season. He was hoping to be back to, of course, be with them in the playoffs or maybe late in the regular season if they're going to making the playoffs. And Davante Adams, I think looks like the Raiders are getting back to a better place under Antonio Pierce. But what that means for Davante Adams' fantasy production with Aiden O'Connell at the helm, I really don't know. I don't think it's going to be too promising. And even after this season, what are they going to do? I have to believe it's going to be a new quarterback again. Maybe a little more draft capital, maybe a little more staying power with this next quarterback. We shall see. But Mark Andrews, I mean, he's 28, going to be 29 next season. The 2025 second, it's crazy to me thinking that we're already including 2026 picks. And before you know it, 2025 picks are going to be that next rookie draft that is kind of upcoming. We're already kind of looking towards those players. So I would certainly much rather Mark Andrews in that 2025 second, as it's a very good way to have who I still believe, again, a top 5 tight end in Dynasty and a second-round draft pick. Jumping over to deal number 2, 12-team start 10 half-point PPR, no tight end premium. We've got, this one's pretty simple, Mark Andrews in a 2025 first for Sam Laporta in a 2025 second. This is interesting. I think it's with how much Sam Laporta has been pumped up in Dynasty. Again, like I was just mentioning about their per game stats, Laporta lagging just behind Mark Andrews in points per game. Again, Sam Laporta also being a rookie and Mark Andrews being a 28-year-old veteran. So, as I noted, though, each of those picks were in 2025. We don't know, again, early, mid, late. But what I would say is, you certainly want Sam Laporta's production for the rest of this season, depending on where you're at. But once we get into next season, Mark Andrews his production's not falling off a cliff. He's not there yet. So if you get even comparable fantasy production next season, and then you go into that 2025 rookie draft, you then have a first, then you can kind of see where you're at. I kind of feel like between now and next season, we have this hit to Mark Andrews' dynasty value, of course, because he's injured. But once we get back to next season, and he's the 29-year-old veteran tight end being thrown to by Lamar Jackson, who's been locked up with his contract. We know Lamar Jackson and Mark Andrews' chemistry and connection. Sam Laporta, I'm sure is going to build on what has already been a tremendous rookie season. I assume Goff's going to be there next year and his final year of his contract. But Mark Andrews in the first, that's a way to still have, you're swapping production that's basically the same and you're getting a first. So, yeah, I'm going to go from a second to a first and take Mark Andrews. And talking about the third and final deal related to Mark Andrews here, this is the other rookie. This is a 10-team start 10 PPR half-point 10 premium. Mark Andrews and a 2024 first for Dalton Kincaid. So this one's interesting. Of course, we, over the last couple of weeks, certainly since Dawson Knox went down with his injury, we've gotten to see a little more of Dalton Kincaid. He's done tremendously well, some top 10 finishes. But you know what? This is a half-point 10 in premium, which isn't huge. That's what she said. And I'd rather have, this is 2024 first. I'm not even having to wait till 25 or 26. And I really don't even care if this is a late 24 first. I'd rather not be, but that's not exactly up to me in this hypothetical trade scenario. So what I'm seeing here is, again, like I've mentioned in the previous two, I know Mark Andrews is, he's a veteran. He's going to be 29 next year, but he's not dead yet. He's 29. He's, again, when you think about situation and fit, there's only so many tight ends that have that steady target volume from their quarterback, the one they have the connection with. Again, like I just mentioned, Lamar Jackson locked up for a number of years at this point in Baltimore. So I trust that. I trust that connection. We, again, have seen it do very well this year, even with the new weapons that they've added there. So what I'm saying is I get Mark Andrews, I get a 24 first. This is how far some of these rookie tight ends have been inflated, and I'm loving it. Don't mean to take McDonald's slogan on that one, because if it means I get to have Mark Andrews and then a first on top of it, I'm taking that every time. But those are the three deals, three Dynasty trades related to Mark Andrews. Again, shout out to Dynasty Daddy. That's their trade finder database. Tremendously helpful. Again, not affiliated, but it's a free tool, very helpful. Please go check it out. And again, if you wouldn't mind, like this video if you liked it. If you didn't and you still like it, you hit the button, then I wouldn't know the difference. And subscribe if you want to see more stuff like this. Each week coming out with different trios of different players, dynasty trades. Each week or every 2 weeks coming out with a full podcast episode talking about fatherhood and fantasy football. So subscribe if you want to hear any bit of that. And happy Dynasty.